camera in, make sure the Wi-Fi is working for everybody.
Yep.
You see it counting up, and then I do an intro. William Castro, right? That's it.
Yes,
that's
sir.
what I got. Right. All right. Cool.
Yeah, I go by Castro, but yeah, my name is William Castro.
All right. So you want me to introduce you as Castro or William? Does it matter?
You could do my whole name, just like if you call me by name or whatever, just call me Castro.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Okay, I got you. So let me do my intro. I'll get it started, get it rocking, and then let's get popping from there. Let it go.
Let's get it.
It's like playing basketball for me. I get nervous for every time. I love the game.
Me too.
I love podcasting, bro. I love it.
That's what's up.
This is For Fathers, a podcast for fathers to uplift and encourage each other with the understanding that we are the forefathers of the next generation. I'm eloQuint. This is episode 107. And today we got William Castro, man. Tell everybody what's up.
What's up, bro?
Man, I'm glad to have you on, man. What a quick turnaround from beating each other to getting on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. That was a quick turnaround. What was that, 2 days ago?
2 days, literally. and got put on because of the last guest I just released yesterday actually. I just released yesterday is my uncle, and he said somebody I got to really talk to. So I was like, if my uncle is promoting you, I definitely got to get you on. So I appreciate you even just doing it with me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to be here.
So as I'm getting to know you, man, let the podcast, the listeners get to know you, man. So tell us a little about who Castro is.
Well, I'm a girl dad, first and foremost.
That's the best type of dad.
You know it. Hey, ain't nothing like a girl dad. So I'm a girl dad. I'm a veteran. I'm a felon. I'm an advocate. Just similar to what you and I were speaking about before we started recording. I do my best to always be a voice for those who feel like they don't have voices. I do my best to be a space that's safe for people that have never really felt safe in spaces. And I enjoy finding myself in service of something greater than me. It really makes me feel alive. And I just want to contribute to the positive line as opposed to continuing to contribute to the negative. Because I know there's enough in this world to be grateful for. And the more I look for things to be grateful for, the more I find. And I'm just really grateful to be here, bro.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And like I told you before, man, that's why I started the podcast to create that space. So what are some of the things that you are doing or have done to create that space for the others?
Yeah. So similar to you, I created a podcast in honor of my grandmother. It's called The Seeds of Greatness. And I did that because growing up, she was always a positive voice in my ear, in my life, and not just my life, but in the community around me and our family, really in like for everybody that she met or came in contact with. And she would always look at me or my sister or some of the other kids in like the neighborhood or whatever, regardless of what we got ourselves into, what we were getting ourselves into. She would always speak to the potential in us. She would always speak to what we could be if we just kind of straightened up. And you know how grandmothers are. Like there's a whole lot of love, not so much like discipline, but when grandma calls you out, you listen. You know what I mean? So I did that in her honor, and I'll be relaunching that soon. And I'd love to have you on. I'm an advocate in my day-to-day life, in my job. So I work with a nonprofit, and our mission is to get people back on their feet after they come home from prison or long-term treatment and whatnot. And through that work, I began advocating for behavioral health, because not just for men, but for also historically marginalized or historically oppressed communities. Like there's certain things that some of our communities don't talk about. Like we don't talk about mental health. Like we don't talk about some of the things that weigh on us. We don't talk about substance use disorder and whatnot. So we're working on breaking that stigma, because shame lives in the dark, as you probably know. And the less people talk about it, the more it'll continue. So if I've learned over the course of my life that when I feel free to be myself, then other people also feel like they can also be themselves, their authentic selves, without having to
Yeah.
wear the mask. You remember that old commercial where it's like, I don't remember what medicine it was for, but the dude, he's looking like real sad, but he's got like the little happy face mask, and he like hides behind it. I don't know
Man,
if you've seen
I
that.
can't even say I remember that or not.
Well, in a lot of our day-to-day lives, we've been cultured, or we've been taught and trained to wear masks. And slowly but surely, more and more people are speaking out against that. So more and more people are talking about the things that they struggle with, the things that they haven't felt safe in the past to talk about, whether that's advocating for somebody at court, or getting them into like a treatment program, or getting them connected to therapy. You know what I mean? So I do my best to be of service and be an advocate whenever I see somebody that needs it.
Wow, man, that's awesome. So I guess we have to find out what the turning point is for you to even get there, because you talked about your grandma growing up, and then there's a middle part before you got to where you are now. So I
Yeah.
guess what you experienced for you to understand that this is a real thing, and then what was a turning point for you?
Wow, that's a good question. Okay, so I'm from the Virgin Islands, born and raised. I lived there till I was 18. I joined the Marine Corps and I left home. Well, I was in the Marine Corps maybe 2 years, and then I deployed to Iraq. I did 2 back-to-back combat tours. And then when I came home, they ended up sending me home early because there's this thing called the boots on ground policy. And it basically states that no service member can be in a combat zone for more than 365 consecutive days. And since I did back-to-back deployments, I was over there right on that threshold. And they didn't tell us anything about that. So they just came to me one day. They're like, bro, you got to go. And I was like, damn, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And that's probably like trauma from childhood talking. As soon as somebody says something, I think, oh, I did something wrong. So they did send me home, because you can't really negotiate with the military. Like if they tell you you're going home, you're going home. So when I came home, I found myself in a strange place, because the unit that I went to check into told me that I was still assigned to the unit that's in Iraq, but I can't take marching orders from the unit that's in Iraq because they're 8 hours ahead of us. So it was literally no man's land. Like whatever crack or gap in the system, I fell through it. So there was very little oversight, very little accountability. So I did what any 21-year-old that just spent a year in combat would do. I partied and drank, and then I would feel bad afterwards because I would remember that my unit's still over there getting hammered. And then one night, this individual that I considered a friend at the time called me saying that somebody had held him at gunpoint, wouldn't let him leave the area that he was in, and I had been drinking. Instead of having the presence of mind to be like, call the cops, I was like, bro, I'm on my way. So that was big mistake, number one. I should have never put myself in that situation. When I get there, they start fighting. I try to break it up. I can't break it up. One thing leads to another. The individual he's fighting with pulls a gun. I pull a gun. I shoot him. He doesn't make it. And I tell people all the time, like, I went into that situation with the best of intentions, and the best of intentions didn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. So I ended up getting arrested, and I was facing an open count of murder. And I was still naive to the system. So I thought, any day I'm going home. Any day I'm going home. I don't even have to wait to go to trial. They're going to drop the charges. Like some stuff you'd see on TV, like, oh, we figured out the truth, you can go. No, that did not happen. One of the biggest turning points in my life was when my attorney came to me and he was like, they offered you a plea deal. And I had no idea what that was. So I was like, what does that mean? He was like, if you agree to these terms, then we don't have to go to trial, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I asked him, what is the plea for? Like, what's the offer? And he was like, a life sentence. And I was like, come again? Excuse me? What was that? Yeah, he was like, if you agree to spend the rest of your life in prison, then we don't have to go to trial. And I was like, you really are going to ask me to do? Is that a deal? Bro,
that's a deal?
Right. So on that right there, just disintegrated whatever little fantasy world I was living in. And when I got back to the block, I just went in my cell and locked the door and just sat there really contemplating, what did I get myself into? How did I end up here? What am I going to do? So by the grace of God, they ended up offered me another plea for like 24 to 36 years. I turned that one down too. Then they offered me 13 to 16 years. I turned that one down too, and I was about to go to trial. And my lawyer told me, if we were one county over, I would tell you, let's go to trial, no problem. But in this county, because the Marine base was in the county that I committed my crime in, he was like, in this county, they're going to burn you. And he brought me a stack of papers about this thick. It was 18 people in a row. All of them went to trial for murder. All of them got life. So he offered the district attorney's office 12 and a half to 15 and a half. They took it. And I still thought my life would be over. Obviously, that wasn't the case. And while I was in prison, I did everything I could so the time would serve me instead of me serving dead time. So I took every class I could, every course I could, vocational, educational, whatever, correspondence courses. I did dog training, just anything to keep my mind occupied and to prepare myself for the unknown, really, because I had no idea what it was going to be like coming home from prison. So I just was, as in my mentality was, the average person is this prepared. I got to be this prepared just to stand on an even playing field. So
do you think the military got your mindset that way? Because I mean, anybody that assuming that goes through something like that, they would want to just kind of sink in and be in depression or just, but like what motivated you to even have that mindset to be like, okay, I gotta, prepare myself, and there's years ahead. You talking about, that's a long time. So how'd you go from my life is over to, hey, I'm about to prepare myself for when I get out?
I think that's a great question, and I think you hit the nail on the head, because I remember thinking that, not exactly what you said, but I remember at one point in time while I was behind the wall, I remember thinking the time I spent in war kind of prepared me for this. It kind of, because we were to a greater or lesser degree isolated in the desert with very little contact from people that we love. Like we had to wait on the mail or hope that the internet was working in Iraq, obviously not in prison, so we can communicate with our families. And then it was just a lot of hurdles to jump through. And honestly, like the toughest part of being incarcerated is mental, because it's hard to describe the mental battle, knowing that you can't just go outside when you want to. You have to go into this cell and be locked in there, sometimes for weeks at a time if there was something crazy that happened on the camp. So I do think that my military training definitely helped prepare me for the mental hurdle that was coming whenever I got myself into the situation that got me incarcerated. So I definitely think that you're onto something right there. And it's been a long time since I thought about that. So thank you for bringing that back up. Not for real. For real.
But that's the beat it when men come and chop it up, right? Yeah, it just kind of creates those ideas and brings back things. So I'm glad I could.
Thank you. For real. So fast forward, I remember while I was locked up, my main goal, my main mission was to stay out of trouble so I could get on work release. Because on like work release is the highest level of freedom that you can have, aside from home passes, but I'm not from here, so I didn't think that I would ever get home passes or whatever. So by the time I made it to work release, I was pretty much just sleeping in prison, because I would go to work 6 days a week from like 6:30 to 5:30, and then get back to the camp, eat something, shower, go to bed. So the time really started like ticking off. And I was able to pay down like my restitution and a bunch of stuff with the money that I earned from work release, pay my taxes and whatnot. So then whenever I got out, one of my closest friends, he went above and beyond for me. He'd done some time. He'd done like 17 years. And he knew the hurdles that somebody has to jump through whenever they come home from prison. So he took 2 weeks off of work, walked me through the process. Like he sold me a Hummer for $1 so I didn't have to worry about transportation. Like he went above and beyond. And little did I know that at the time he was acting like a community health worker. And that's the role that I play now in my profession. I work for a nonprofit. And as a community health worker, it's my job to be a conduit between the individual in need and the resources. So we say all the time, we might not be able to provide the resource, but we can connect you to the resources that you need. So, and shout out to Operation Gateway. I work for Operation Gateway. Our mission is to reduce recidivism by addressing the social determinants of health of returning citizens. And we've seen some success, and the people that come through the program that are able to get back on their feet end up also wanting to become community health workers and pay it forward. So it's really a beautiful thing to watch.
Wow. Now that sounds beautiful. I mean, to even have somebody just to swoop in like that, like almost like an
Bro,
angel,
save
right?
me.
That just come and just bless
Yeah,
you. I
save
guess
me.
what's the mindset now? Like you feel like maybe you're back up against the wall, maybe, and somebody comes in like that. What's the obviously it made you want to do it yourself. So because even though he said you acted like a community
Health worker.
community health worker,
Mm-hmm.
like so like I guess what is that? How did that? Like, what emotion did that carry? Because sometimes us men we don't
Yeah.
express our emotions well enough, but I know that had
Yeah,
to do something for you.
absolutely. So, and I'm glad you brought up emotion, because the strangest thing, when I came home from prison, I was extremely grateful and extremely anxious at the same time. I'm talking about like so grateful I could cry and terrified at the same time. And sometimes I would just feel disconnected from like the real world, as we call it. So when he did that for me, it was still hard. So I did my best after he did that for me. The people that were still locked up that I kept in touch with, because our mentalities kind of aligned, our vision for what we wanted to build in our lives or to maximize our potential aligned. I would communicate those things back to them, and really I communicated to everybody that I spoke to that was behind the wall, because most of the time, if somebody that's in prison calls you off the wall phone or whatever, you pick up the phone. If you've been there with them, they pass the phone around. So it'd be like 20, 30 dudes that you did time with. Everybody has different questions and whatnot, but they all want to know what it's like. How's it going? You know what I'm saying? So it really, naturally, I also wanted to pay it forward, because it was still hard in spite of the fact that he did all of the things that he did, the whole 2 weeks off and all of this and that. It was still a challenge. So if I can make anybody else's life easier with information, like, that's a no-brainer to me. So so yeah, the emotions during the reentry process were just kind of paradoxical. And then seeing people start believing in themselves after having been told that they're worthless for so many years is incredible. Like, the amount of gratitude that just radiates off these people, and the way that they're energized and they want to like jump in to the trenches to help people out too. I mean, it feels good, honestly. Like, it really feels good.
And so is that your biggest motivator? Just to really just paying it forward? I know you said it a couple of times. So is that the biggest motivation? Or was it the guy that helped out the biggest motivation
Mm-hmm.
to kind of do the same thing? Like what is that like what is that the biggest motivation?
So at the time when I first came home from prison, the biggest motivation was to prove everybody wrong. All the people that believe that, oh, you did prison time, you're worthless, you'll never be an upstanding citizen, or you don't have anything to contribute, or your life is over. The biggest motivator was for all of those hard days to have been for something, you know what I mean? As opposed to just for nothing. So, because that's honestly like my biggest fear. My biggest fear is that all of the bad stuff that happened in my life, all of the tough times that happened in my life, to have been for nothing. Because, like, what would be the meaning in that? You know what I mean? But if I know, okay, I went through that, I learned this, I can pass this information along, I can save somebody the heartache that I experienced, then it's a little bit easier to swallow that pill. You know what I mean? So now, if you ask me what the biggest motivation today is, yeah, it's my daughter, 100%. Like, that little girl changed my life completely. I used to be that guy when people would be like, "Oh, you think you know what love is? Wait till you have kids, then you really gonna know what love is." I'd be like, "Yeah, okay,
Right.
okay." Everybody says that. Man, listen, there's nothing like it. Even my closest friends, like, we would joke back and forth. They'd be like, "Bro, I'm telling you, watch, and you gonna have a little girl, watch." And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, it's gonna change everything." They were right. It changed everything. She was born January 5th, and I don't think I'm ever gonna tell that little girl no. Like, I love her so much.
But it's so hard. It is so hard. It is so hard because And you a girl that, and so I know, like, I guess, she's not too much talking, right? Because she's only a year and
She's just
13 months,
babbling.
you said, right? So,
Yeah,
but I know you still feel that love that radiates, man. So
man. Yes.
I get, even when she first came out, like, when did those data things come in? Because I'd never been around babies growing up, and then as soon as that baby came out, I feel like I knew what I was supposed to do. Like, how was that for you?
Yeah. So same. And there's been some moments that were terrifying. I remember one time she had an ear infection, and she was asleep in her little pack and play, like in the room with me. And I woke up, and there was like all of this stuff like leaking across her face. I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" So of course, rushed her to the emergency room. And then another time, she had been like throwing up, and I changed her, cleaned her off, changed her, gave her a bottle. She started throwing up again. So now I'm like, I have no clue what to do. So I'm like trying to figure out what to do, asking her mom. And then the next day, they gave her 1 year shots, even though we told the doctor that she'd been throwing up. And she was she felt so bad for like a week and a half after that. Like, normally she's smiling, babbling, getting into everything. For that week and a half, she would just kind of like lay there. Her body would go limp. You pick up a little arm, it would just drop. She would giggle every once in a while, but it just wasn't the same. And as a dad, I'm like, what can I do? And there's nothing that I could really do except try to soothe her a little bit. Like, she was teething also, so she had a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, man,
Poor thing.
teething,
So,
boy.
so she only wanted to like sleep in my arms or in her mom's arms. So, and if you're trying to get stuff done, then that can be a little tough because she's a year old. She's like 20 pounds, and 20 pounds adds up. You start holding a little 20 pounds something and trying to walk around, you trying to type with one hand and whatnot. So that was really scary. But as far as like, and I don't know how to describe the instincts, or I don't even know if to call them instincts, but it's almost like she has a different cry when she's sleepy and when she's hungry than when she's wet or when she's just cranky. You know what I mean? But she does the funniest stuff. So my apartment is 2 stories, right? So you walk in the front door, you're at the landing, the stairs are right there, you go upstairs. Her room is like straight up the stairs. So in the evening time, like, we got a little nightly routine. You know what I mean? Like, we eat dinner, I give her a bath, play a little bit downstairs, try to get her tired. You know what I mean? Then like
Got
a bottle and bedtime. Yeah, got to. So she started doing this thing where downstairs playing, reading to her, whatever. She like speeds over to the stairs and like tries to climb 2 of them. And I got carpet everywhere, and the apartment is baby proof. But she like climbs. She steps onto the first step, holds on to the second one, kind of puts her head down. So I'm like, you trying to tell me you want to go to bed? So I pick her up with the bottle, take her, lay her in the crib, and she just grabs the bottle. She always grabs it with one hand and like starts stroking her head with the other hand. And I'm like, oh, you were ready for bed the whole time. Why didn't you just say so? Oh yeah, you can't talk. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's incredible, bro. But like, she teaches me something every day. And like, just the way that her little eyes light up, or that little crooked, toothless smile when she sees me, it makes it all worth it. Like, everything, all of everything.
Oh yeah, but I know all about it, man. I love when you get to start to learn our kids and their tell signs of whatever they want, or like you said, the different cries. But I do want to back it up to when you felt, helpless as a father, essentially,
Yeah.
right? Because you couldn't do nothing. I know in your work,
Right.
you help people all the time.
Mhm.
And I'm sure, like, even you probably went to military because you wanted to help, you wanted to make a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, there
And
was
so
some of that. Yeah.
so I guess, like, when it comes to being a father, and you want to run to this so many times, and I'm scared when they get older, this teenager stuff, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I don't know what I'm gonna do, because sometimes I'd be like, I don't know what to do. But like just I guess, since, like I said, your job is helping, you went in the military to help, all that kind of stuff. Like, what was your feelings and your emotions, going back to emotions, right? When you couldn't help, like what was your thought process? How'd you go about it? Because I know I used to go crazy. Like, man, I don't know. I wish, especially like that sickness and that cough,
Yeah.
or even a hiccup, when that whole body just be caving. I hate that. Where the water at?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, so I was terrified. I felt powerless. I was worried, anxious, and I just reached out to everybody I knew that had been a parent and who I look up to in their parenting style or their skills as a parent. And I was like, bro, what do I do? Like, is this normal? Is she okay? And obviously, like, took her to the emergency room twice, took her to the doctor twice. And the doctors were like, they were really supportive. They were like, listen, just follow your instincts. I remember the doctor at the ER was like, you're a good dad. If she doesn't get better in a couple of days, they were like, it's a virus and it has to run its course. There's nothing we could really do about it. And but at the same time, she was like, if you feel like you need to take her to the doctor, do so. And don't sit at home because the doctor, am telling you not to take her to the from the ER to the doctor. If you feel like she needs some more medical attention, take her to the doctor. So honestly, I just leaned on my network. I leaned on some of my friends and some of my family, and I just asked questions because I was scared, bro. I had no clue what to do. I've never been a dad before. I've never really been around kids before, especially infants. So
Right.
I got this little tiny human that's like depending on me for everything. You know what I mean? So she can't communicate what's going on, not verbally. Obviously, like body language, you as a dad can probably tell as well whenever one of your kids isn't behaving the way they normally do. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as the verbal communication, because I tell people all the time, like, I'm a really simple creature. Like, if there's something that you want or you need, just tell me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like playing like guessing games because I'm not really good at guessing games, but I do pay close attention. And bro, it was just really scary. And obviously, like the intrusive thoughts would tell me that something catastrophic was wrong. And then I had to
What?
like talk it down. I'd have to talk it down and like, whew, man, I'm so grateful. She like I laid her down one evening in the midst of her feeling bad, and she slept for like 13 hours. I kept going in to check on her because I was like, something ain't right. Why is she sleeping
Yeah,
so
you
much?
still breathing? Like,
Yeah, literally, bro. Like I'd wake up like every 30 minutes and look at the baby monitor, trying to see her little something rise and
yeah,
fall. And when I
yeah.
could not hop up, run around the corner. And then when I see, and then of course, like if I go in there and I get too close, or if my chains dangle, then she's like, huh? And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no,
go back to
my
sleep. Go
bad.
back to sleep. Don't
My
cry.
bad. Just kind of, I'm not really here. Just kind of back
Yeah.
up. But nah, for real, when I went in there that day and I saw that little smile and she was standing and jumping, and she does this thing where like she gets so happy, it's almost like she gets bashful because she'll like cover her eyes and then just kind of peek at you. Like it is so adorable, bro. Like I love that little girl. Like I'll do anything for her. I love her so much.
Man, the kids, they'd be captivating us, man. They'd be taking our
Yeah,
heart, especially us fathers.
that's a fact.
Uh, you said something about the doctor reaffirming you and said that you're a
Hmm.
good dad.
Hmm.
For me, and I'll share a little bit of my story of how the different
Okay.
struggles I had. Being reaffirmed as a father was big and is still
Huge.
big because sometimes, especially in this world, especially on social
Hmm.
media, especially just if you talk to other men,
Hmm.
you realize like, man, sometimes people make you feel like a bad dad because you didn't do it this way or you didn't
Right.
do it that way or whatever the
Or you
case may
didn't know.
be. You didn't know or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
They just try to bash you,
Yeah.
even though you're trying your best. So in there, your best is not
Yeah.
as good as their best. And I know you
Yeah.
talked about you co-parent.
Hmm.
So did that reaffirming do anything for you? Have you ever had that type of tug and pull when it comes to the relationship with the mom or anything like that? It made you feel like, am I doing good enough?
Yeah. Absolutely. So, um, yeah, I think active dads who want to be dads, and not just active dads who want to be dads. I think people in general, I do my best to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that people intentionally make the worst possible choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I I do know from firsthand experience that sometimes what we think is the right course of action isn't necessarily the best course of action. And I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. So um during like the relationship with her mom, during that relationship, I was so focused on doing my best to advance in my career so I could provide a better life for them, for the family, obviously, that I ended up neglecting my relationship with her mom because I was prioritizing work so much. So I was working like 14, 15-hour days, or like the weekends, my boss would call or somebody in the community would call, they needed something. And I'd jump and run to it because I'm like, if I can lay the foundation, then everything else will be okay. And honestly, that contributed to the detriment of the relationship because I wasn't prioritizing the relationship. So when my daughter was born and I finally realized that, I mean, obviously it doesn't change the damage that was done to the relationship, but moving forward, like I've made it really clear to everybody, like I will definitely give 100% during working hours. Oh, look at her. But I have a family and I'm going to be there for my daughter. Like there is no way that I'm going to prioritize work and neglect my daughter. But to your point, always, bro, always struggle with imposter syndrome, where
Great word.
I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing. I'm wondering if I'm a good dad. And like I'm the type, I'm gonna do what I think is the right thing to do after like careful consideration most of the time. But in the past, like platitudes didn't mean anything to me. So somebody being like, "Oh, well, you're so good at this," or "Oh, you're so good at that," I'm like, "Yeah, okay, appreciate it." And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, "Why you trying to be nice to me? Like, what you trying to get from me?" You know what I'm saying? But with her, it did feel good to have the doctor tell me that I was a good father. Like just like it feels good when people who know how much I care about my daughter, how much I prioritize not only her well-being but like her future, they're like, "Man, you're a good dad." And that feels really good. And I do my best. Like I got a really tight circle of friends. And now that I think about it, all of us are girl dads. Like one of my boys, he's got two boys, but he's still a girl dad. Like, and his girl is the youngest, and he ain't told her no either. You know what I'm saying? She's like 7. She still ain't heard no from him. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I'll call them and I'll just like bounce ideas off of them because in my opinion, if you can't call me out, like you can't call me your friend. You know what I mean? Like I need a friend that's like, "Bro, you tripping. Like, yeah, you were dead wrong." As opposed to just somebody that's gonna like appease me and say what I want to hear. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't serve me at all or my daughter. If I'm wrong, I want to know that I'm wrong so I can course correct, because not that I want to be right for being right's sake, but I just want to do the right thing because I'm the first man that this little girl is going to fall in love with. B, I'm going to set the bar for what she's going to tolerate or look for or expect in a man. So, and when the way she sees me treat women is what she's going to think is okay. So all of those things in mind, like I'm doing my best, not only to make her feel loved and protected, because there's nothing she can do that's going to make me not love her. There's nothing she can do that's going to make me not want to be there to protect her, etc. In addition to that, I want to set the tone because I want to normalize what a good father looks like, as opposed to just continuing the narrative that's out there, the narrative that obviously you've heard as well, because you said that you've struggled with wondering if you're a good dad too. So I want to change that, bro. Even if I just change it for her, that's enough.
And that's what we got to start at, right? In the home.
Facts.
That's what we got to start at. And I heard one time that the standard is the floor, right?
That's
Instead
a
of the standard
fact.
being the ceiling, the standard is the floor. And you set
That's
that
a
bar high,
fact.
man.
Yeah.
She gon' follow in those footsteps because, like you say, you're the first person she's gonna love, man. Which is
Facts.
so true. But I did think you hit on something that I think a lot of men struggle with when it comes to work and family balance, when it comes to providing, because we hear so much, you got to provide. You're not a man unless you provide, unless you can take care of the home, you know, not necessarily always that the wife has to, or the woman has to stay home, but you still got to be the one that they got to be on the forefront. You got to be that alpha male or whatever the case may be. And I think some people, well, I should say women, usually skip over that struggle that we have. in that, because even me, like my wife makes more than me, and sometimes I struggle, like, dang, am I being a good enough husband? Should I be out there grinding a little more? But I spend so much time with my family, you know what I mean? Like, because she's a vet too, so she's an Army vet, so she has like the benefits and stuff, which makes her make more than me. So it's like, man, am I being good enough? Should I be like help me with this podcast? Help me grow it a little bit more. It's like, because it's a struggle, bro. It's a struggle, and so I would bet that when you went out there, like you kind of hinted at, you was doing it because you did the best for your family, because you was stepping into the role of being the man, and that you thought that's what it took.
Facts. And to answer your point, I feel like it's partly our fault that they expect that, you know what I mean? Because, or that they don't realize the stress that we might feel, because I didn't ever really talk about the stress that I felt. I might feel like I'm underwater, but like, I want to portray the provider and the protector. So I'm not doing myself any favors by not confiding in how I really felt. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, you talking to the right one. You talking to the right one.
So you take that, and then on top of that, you add like what society has dictated and whatnot. And as much as I tried not to fall into that, like I did for a little bit, and I was like, oh, I can make it. I just need to grind a little bit harder, just a little bit harder, save a little bit more money. Da 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 da. When honestly, like, not that I would ever expect this from my daughter's mom, but she probably would have been cool if we were just eating ramen noodles, as long as I was there, present, showing up, etc., etc. And like, my pride wouldn't let me do that. Like, my pride wouldn't let me not work so hard, because I always thought I was just this close. But the reality is, and you know it as a man, like every mountain that we reach the top of is the base of another mountain. Like, we always got another obstacle to face. We always want a little bit more, a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter, a little bit shinier. And like, honestly, like, it's up to me to keep that in check in me, because that's the opposite of the example that I want to set. And honestly, social media has kind of helped me understand that too, because so now my social media is always suggesting baby stuff and kid stuff and this and that, yada, yada, yada. So I remember I saw this video recently, I think it was yesterday, but they had mom and dad in one room, and then they brought the child into another room, and they asked the mom and dad what it is that they wanted, like their goals, their dreams, or any celebrity or whoever they wanted to eat with or whatever. And obviously the parents had names, but then they asked the kids the same question about who would they want to have dinner with. And it was every single child. It was mommy and daddy, mommy and daddy. Who's the one person you look up to? Mommy and daddy, mommy or daddy. You know what I mean? So it's like all of the things that we have been taught that are important, children don't have that programming until somebody programs it into them. So they really just want to just crawl all over you, sit next to you, lay their head on you, and drool on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you pick them up and spin them around? Like, they really just want you to be there present. And honestly, my time in prison also showed me the importance of being present, because I don't care how strong your relationship is with your wife or girlfriend or whoever you had before you're incarcerated. If you're incarcerated for a long enough time and there's not enough presence, it's going to fall apart. So right now, my goal is, obviously I have career goals, obviously I have physical goals, but my main goal is to always be the best dad that I can, and always be there for this little girl who didn't ask to be here. You know what I mean? Like, she didn't raise her hand and she was like, yeah, I'll go down there and be ignored and be neglected. No, she didn't. So it's really on me. But that was a good observation. I appreciate that.
Of course, man. And even in the beginning of the episode, you had mentioned some stuff that you grew up with, always getting the finger pointed at you maybe, and you always feel like you was in trouble. So I guess some of those traumatic things that, ACEs, I'm sure you talked about that, adverse childhood experiences, right? I guess when it comes to, I know she's still young, but when it comes to raising her up, like what is your plan going forward? Because I know that's obviously on your mind and your mindset, because we just finished talking about it, to not put those same traumatic things, even though like you said, everybody's trying to do the best they can. I'm sure whoever
Right.
raised you did the best they could with the knowledge that they had. Two different
Exactly.
generations. We just different.
Exactly.
And like mental health, we talked about earlier, is something that's completely new. I teach my students now about mental health. I said, I didn't know what this was until I got after college. Like,
That's
I
a
ain't
fact.
never heard of mental health before.
That's a fact.
So I'm teaching y'all because, you know, it's important, and I know y'all all hip to it. So I guess, what are some of the things that you even have in the back of your mind, or some notes down that what you're going to do a little different so that they don't feel that same trauma or go through that same thing?
Yeah. So the very first one, and I'm glad that you pointed that out, because you're right. It is two completely different generations. Like when our parents were kids, it wasn't okay to talk about mental health. Like, it wasn't okay to go to school talk about, oh, I need a therapist. Yeah. And then you get whooped when you get home. I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
Right. Oh, bro, what?
Nah, so the very first thing that I do my best is I'm whenever she's around, and honestly, like, I'm doing, since she's been born, I've been doing it more, even if she's not around. But I'm doing my best to put some distance between myself and the situation, some emotional distance. So in the past, where I would just kind of like react emotionally, like, I do my best to just kind of like take a second. Even if I feel something, I won't show it immediately. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'll give you an example. If she's walking around and like I hear her fall and my back is turned, like, obviously, like, instinct is whip around and make sure she's okay. So like, I might turn around, and if I just see her laying there and she's starting to move, I'll like, yay, I'll clap like it ain't no big deal, because they feed off of us. If she falls and I go, oh my God, are you okay? Then she's gonna be like, ah, you know what I mean? She's gonna be like, I must not be okay. So I do my best to regulate my emotions, and I do my best to I'm always excited to see her, and I don't hide it. So every time I see her, even if she just like does something and then looks at me, like, I'm super excited, I'm super happy. And I want her to know it's okay to be happy. It's okay to play. Like, you don't have to be quiet in the corner. You don't have to be quiet when like the adults are doing this. Like, you're a baby. We shouldn't hold you to the same standard that we hold adults, because you don't know what the social rules are. You don't know any of that. And you'll learn that in time. But right now, like, go ahead and babble all the things that you want to babble. Like, go ahead and hit my computer when I'm trying to type. Like, it's up to me to not get frustrated. Does that make sense? So right now, my main thing is being like emotionally even. So she models that, as opposed to like me being an emotional roller coaster and then her modeling that. And I'm so grateful, bro. Like, I'm super blessed. She is such a good baby. She hardly ever cries. If she cries, either her teeth are hurting, and if her teeth are hurting, she'll be crying, whining, or she got her hand in her mouth. So there are telltale signs. When she's hungry, her cry just sounds a little bit different. And when she's sleepy, her little eyes get puffy and she gets a little restless. She starts like throwing her head back. Like, some people might call that a tantrum, but she's communicating in her own way. This is what I need. So it's up to me to be paying attention, to not get upset because she's not behaving in the way that I feel like she should behave all the time. Because honestly, like, what baby's always quiet and never makes a mess or whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, I go through all this stuff, making her dinner, and I put her on the little flexible plates, and I'll hand it to her. You know what she does?
Flip it.
She flips it.
I know. I know.
Yo, you ain't even hesitating.
I know.
And she'll like intense eye contact. All the food come down. So you know what I do now? I don't even make her a plate. I make me a plate, and I sit down and I act like I'm eating, and here she comes. Now she wants it, and she'll grab it and eat it. And she might grab 2 handfuls and walk away. She see me eating it, she might throw a handful on the carpet, come back and get more. It's okay. I can clean the carpet. You know what I mean? Like, she's more important than the carpet. So I'm not gonna like get mad and yell at her over making a mess. I've dropped food on the carpet before. You know what I mean? I'm grown. So that's the very first thing. And I'm doing my best to continue learning how babies learn, and the best way to educate them on the things that I want. So I'm just now getting into this, but I'm learning that repetition is one of the main ways that they learn, as opposed to adults. One of the best ways we retain information is association. So if I can connect this to something else, then I'll remember it. Whereas if every time I'm holding her in my arms and we walk past a mirror, she reaches out like she wants to touch it. Every time she touches the mirror, I say touch. So now every time she passes a mirror, she reaches a little hand down. She starts trying to say touch. Obviously, it doesn't come out as touch. It comes out as something completely different, like tap or something. Or another one, like I'll pick her up. Every single time I pick her up, I say up. And sometimes I'll say it right before. So now she'll like, because now she's walking, kind of. So she'll like come over and she'll look at me. She'll throw her little arms out and she'll go, up. And I'm like, hey, good job. So like, you know what I mean? So like, I have to learn how she learns best so I can teach her in a way that she will learn best. And it's really interesting because that's not the way I was taught. You know what I'm saying? Like growing up, and like we talked about, it was different generations and whatnot. If I didn't respond the way that the teacher wanted me to, or the adult wanted me to respond, then I was wrong, as opposed to them shifting their teaching style to suit my learning style or my level of understanding. Like the expectation was all put on the child, and I just refused to do that. She's 13 months old. You know what I mean? Like, if I give her another plate and she flips it, it's on me, not on her.
That's real. Now that's a thought right there. I like that. I like that. That is on us. Like, yeah, you hit me upside the head with that one. I like that.
What about you? What's the things that you've learned the most as a dad? Because I need advice, bro. Teach me, please. Teach me.
I going along the lines with you, I think patience. Because I'm a goal oriented guy, and I'm a go through the wall type of guy. And so it's really my situation when a lot from years ago, right? It taught me to be patient and to believe that, you know, what I'm doing is working, essentially. Like, they're not going to forget what I'm doing.
Right.
And just really having that, which I think you're hitting on, is emotional intelligence. I think those things that kind of really just shape my mind, because I'll spaz real quick. Like I used to pop off real quick. And sometimes I still mess up.
It's still in there.
It's still in there. It's still in there. I got Christ and everything, but sometimes I still fall short, man. I fall short of His glory sometimes.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, it is. So I think patient really tied into emotional intelligence, because I needed to learn my emotions, and having thought has really helped me do that, because they have such an array of emotions.
Right.
And sometimes I couldn't relate to what they're feeling. I'm talking about when they get older, and also the mothers of them, right? Because I had two different moms, so even relating to them, that affected if I was going to see my kid or not, right?
That's tough.
And so I had to, just not even the kid itself, everything surrounding my daughters made me realize, like, I gotta emotionally become stable into a place where I can hear what that person is saying and understand where that hurt is coming from, and hear that person saying and know how to move so that I'm not causing more pain or more rift, or you know, putting stuff against me, so in court they can say certain things. So I had to be very strategic, but in that I had to learn how to deal with certain things, and then really at the end of the day, it incurred patience. And then when I got my daughter, a lot of times it was sporadic, especially in the beginning. And so when she wouldn't want me, or she would crying for a mommy or whatever, I had to be patient and learn how to hurt. Bro, what? You talking about one of the deepest pains, and especially you talk about being like stuff in childhood, like feeling rejected as a child and stuff like that, and then your own child rejects you. So that really just like man, talking about pain. Then when I take it out on their mom and stuff like that. So like all that stuff kind of brought a lot of stuff out of me. It really brought a lot of pain, a lot of trauma as a kid. Even though it's kid stuff, but when you're a kid, that kid stuff is big stuff. Like nowadays, it's like it wasn't that big of a deal. I could have figured that out, but as a kid, it was huge, right? And so that's really what it is. That and then now being married, we talk about I'm dealing with my wife's emotions, living with her, and then And then also my daughter, I had two of my daughters live with me, like my oldest that I got in
Mm-hmm.
marriage, and my youngest lives with me, and then my two middle, they live
Mm-hmm.
in South Carolina.
Oh, that's what's up.
And so even dealing with that even more, I mean, surrounded by a bunch of, I'm talking about emotions, bro. I
Yep.
still try to figure that man out. So, but the patience that I got from that situation, especially early on in fatherhood, really has helped me. But now I'm trying to figure out, and I'm learning being a bonus dad, a stepfather, right?
Yeah.
Not trying to step on the shoes of her real father, who is another somebody in the army. So just a bunch of traveling deployments, all that kind of stuff, but also be reaffirming and reassuring, because I know what it's like not to be able to be around my kid all the time. So
That's
some of
deep.
the things, yeah. So, and
Well,
even in that, like, a lot of times you hear people beefing with the natural dad or whatever. But me, I'm over here fighting for him, and that's kind of weird to say. But like, I'm talking to my wife, like, well, he probably feels this way or because I've been there. I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic, but
that is interesting.
Yeah, it is. And to answer your question, I think patience and emotional intelligence, man, that's one of the big things I got from parenthood.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. And another thing that I heard it when you were explaining that is like letting go of the desire to control every situation. Look. No, but seriously, bro, like I know people say that and like they make it sound so simple and so easy, but it's something about like surrendering to the fact that I'm not in complete control of this or any situation. Bro, so I struggled with that for a long time. And then when and the weird part is that while I was in prison, I learned how to surrender. This is what it is. Like, it's no point in fantasizing. Let me just make the most or make the best of what I got now. So when I got out, I kind of like reverted back to like thinking, oh, I know which way I want to go and I need to be going this way. I need to be doing this. And then like life just took me a different way and kicking and screaming a little bit. But then I finally like surrendered a little. But then in the interpersonal stuff, like I could have surrendered a little bit more. I could have had a little bit more patience as opposed to like reacting emotionally and being like, I'm not going for this. Like, I'm not going for that. Da 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 da. And now going through like the roller coaster of emotions and now getting into like a good groove of co-parenting, like I'm back to the surrender. So okay, yeah, we might have agreed over here, but things happen. Instead of getting upset about it, all right, cool, okay, we can't meet there, let's meet over here. Oh, okay, this isn't gonna work, okay, let's do something different. So and honestly, like I made it more difficult than it had to be when I wouldn't just understand and accept the fact that it can be a bunch of different ways. You know what I mean? And it's
go
an
my
interesting
way.
real. I mean, not even necessarily my way, but like, like growing up, especially like being into some of the stuff that young men of minority descent get ourselves into in America, like some stuff we just ain't going for, right? So instead of just being a little bit more open and less rigid, it was like, nope, not going for that. Nope, not going for that. You know what I mean? And now I'm to the point where I'm just doing my best not to allow anything that she may do or say to get an emotional response from me. And sometimes it's tough, but I feel more peace because I'm focusing on peace. Because honestly, like, so let's say like there's an interaction that doesn't go smoothly, or like there's an interaction and I feel like she's trying to get a rise out of me. It might take me like 20, 30 minutes, but I'll just continually tell myself, let it go. Just let it go. Just let it go. And then it doesn't bother me anymore. The old me would have harped on that. And then I had to say something about it. And then that would lead to her saying something. So it's like, I'm triggered. So I trigger her. She triggers me. I trigger her. And then it's like sooner or later, the topic's just going to blow off of it. Whereas it's so much easier to remind myself of the fact, this is the situation. Maybe one day it'll change. But for right now, this is the situation. So I'm going to do my part. regardless of what anybody else does, I'm going to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to make sure I'm doing my part. Whether she does or doesn't, that's fine. And the crazy part is, like, the more I lean into that, the better the better the result.
Better. Oh, bro, what? I know all of, bro. I know everything you just said. I know all about it. I know.
It's crazy.
And it gets so much better. Oh, man, it gets so much better. I said you better than me because it had to be my way. So,
oh, that's good. That's good.
So hold on, bro. I thought I had my charger. Let me grab this charger real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
That's crazy. My fault. I thought I had my charger.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, bro. So yeah, like you better than me. I thought it had to be my way, and so I struggle. And the biggest surrender I've had and submit I had to do was to Jesus Christ, bro. And that really helped. I mean, because I wouldn't be where I'm at now in terms of dealing with her, because like you said, every little thing I'm popping off. Like, no, it has to be this way. Nah. You want this, but you ain't giving me my time. Because I used to fight for time. That was my thing. I'm gonna fight for my time. And if you ain't giving me my time, I ain't giving you nothing. You ain't getting no money. You ain't getting none of that stuff. So what? Like you want me to give you money, but you're not giving me my time? You won't not answer the phone? Why?
My thing was my biggest issue was always like, I think something happens, whether it's something good, bad, or neutral, whatever. There's a situation, we talk about it, we come up with an agreement, and then next thing you know, she's acting like we didn't come up with the agreement, like we didn't come up with the solution. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm like, hold on now. And then I'm trying to get her to remember that she agreed to X, Y, and Z, or remember that she said she wanted X, Y, and Z. And now I'm looked at like I'm the bad guy. And I'm just like, and I would tell her a million times, like, I don't do double standards. Like, I don't do it. If it's okay for you to ask me X, Y, and Z, then why are you so mad if I ask you X? You know what I'm saying? Or if you don't want me doing X, Y, and Z, then why do you think it's okay for you to do X? So it's not even necessarily that it had to be my way. I know I hear you saying that it had to be your way. And like, I appreciate your honesty. But my thing is just like, bro, like I said before, like I'm a really simple creature. If you tell me what you expect of me, I can say, I can do it, or I can't, or I can try. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say one of them three. But if you tell me, hey, yo, at 5 o'clock, I'm going to call you and we're going to record this podcast, and it's 5:30 and I don't hear anything about you, and then you get mad at me when I'm like, yo, what happened at 5 o'clock? Now I got a problem. You know what I'm saying? Now I got a problem. So, but I'm working on it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. Hey. So I know she's young, so I guess you're still in work in progress, but this took me years, man. Years to even get to this point. Like years. Like I fought and for years. And sometimes she still tries to get it right, and it's a lot better now. Like it's so much better comparatively, bro. Yes. So yes. I mean, like I developed alopecia, bro. I lost hair, bro. I lost my beard, like everything. I was so stressed, man.
Wow. That stress hit different.
Yeah. But you said something key, bro. I put a lot of stuff on myself because I just wouldn't be malleable. I wouldn't be able to, work with her because of the pain, bro. At the end of the day, it's pain.
Right.
And
it's pain and pride.
Pain.
For real, it is. It is. If you think about the situations that we get ourselves in or that we stay in that are detrimental to us, 9 times out of 10, our reaction came because it brought up pain from the past or it pricked at our little pride. You know what I'm saying? And then we like fly off the handle, and then we wonder why everything happened the way it happened. Like we were just being led by pain and pride. I don't know. Right. I'm working on it. Like
Right.
I'm
And
doing
it
my
took me a
best.
long
I'm
time to
trying.
realize my fault in it too. Like
Right.
I was always pointing the finger. Like, and nah, it's
Mm.
all her. Everything is her. And then she did some things too, but I did some things too. So
Hey, you know what I tell people whenever, because a lot of the members that we serve, like they confide in us because they know that we've been in prison as well, and they start telling us all about like all of the bad stuff going on in the relationship. I would always be like, so all of this bad stuff this person is doing, and then the person that was before them, they were horrible too. The person that was before them were horrible too. Like, why you keep picking these people? You know what I'm saying?
you ain't noticed the
They
cycle
get
yet?
mad. They get mad. The common denominator is you. If
Right.
everybody you go out with is horrible, then maybe you should check your standards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right. And it's so hard to look in the mirror, ain't it? It's so
man,
hard to look
it's
in the
so
mirror.
hard. It's so hard. And honestly, like if I'm being 100% honest, I think that's a big part of why like my daughter's mom and I like butted heads so much, because on many different levels, like we were mirrors to each other. So like, bro, I used to pride myself on, man, I don't care. I don't care what this person thinks, that person thinks. Like, you ain't about to get no emotional response out of me. Then enters one woman, and it's like, boom. And I'm like, so finally I had to take a step back and be like, yo, like, why is this happening the way that it's happening? I need to check me. Like, I need to, okay, I've been in situations where I couldn't control before. I've been in situations where I felt some type of way before, but why am I reacting like this? Like, what is going on? So you're right. Like, it's a me thing. It's definitely a me thing.
So you gotta be thinking about some stuff, man. But
Whew,
I
yeah.
really thinking about like how far I've come, because
Right.
I'm sure
That's good.
you even like being incarcerated and where you at
Hmm.
now, and the time
Hmm.
you spend in the Marines, and just
Hmm.
everything that lined up to bring you to this point right here, right on this podcast, to your
Yeah.
mindset right now. It's
Yeah.
it's it's really mind blowing to look back. It's like, man, I really came a long way. And that kind of speaks to imposter syndrome, because sometimes we like,
Right.
man, I ain't doing enough or da da da. But like, you really look back and you really see the trail of tears.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you really think about it,
Facts.
it's like, dang, I really come a long way, and that kind of encourages me too, to
Yeah.
keep on moving forward and keep moving in this direction of I guess emotional intelligence. I've been listening to that a lot lately, so that's really
Yeah.
heavy on
No,
my
it's
mind.
no facts. It is honestly like, it's like top two, and I don't know which one to put first, because, well, really top three, because I've heard different people say that like the most important thing is like communication. But if you can't understand or regulate your emotions, then what are you communicating? So,
Mm,
but then somebody says emotional intelligence. Okay, so if you can understand your what's going on with your emotions, but you can't put it in a way that anybody understands, then what good is it? You know what I mean?
mm,
It's like I don't know which one is number one, but it's definitely up there. Understanding, or comprehension, communication, and emotional intelligence. Like, you could put any one of them in the top three. So, and I'm a big proponent of personal development. So I don't care what any person wants to accomplish in life. I don't care what your big, like, scary dream or goal is. I feel like as you continue to develop personally, everything is attainable. So like, yeah, like keep listening to anything about emotional intelligence, keep learning, keep growing, and there's no limit to where you're gonna end up. So you, like, I get it, because that emotional intelligence piece hits different, especially when it's true. And it's like it just hits you right in the chest.
yeah, it do, man. Not the win at you, like, man, I swear I was a
Yeah.
good guy in all this.
Yeah, this whole time I thought I had it. And I'm over here throwing a temper tantrum.
Bruh, what? Like the undealt emotions that we keep harness, man. That we keep harness. That's
Yes.
one of the things about this podcast, man. Let's let it out.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. Let's be
Yeah.
open and honest. Let's be raw.
Yeah.
Let's be
Yeah.
real, man. And
Yeah.
it's really therapeutic. This podcast is therapeutic for me, because just to hear other people's stories
100%.
and how far they come, and then it's to glean from each other. I mean, even
Yeah.
though I've been a father for 13 months, I still have gleaned from you. I mean,
Well, thank you.
the
Thank you.
stuff that you talk about, the repetition stuff, I didn't even think about that before. And even now, I know they're older and stuff like that, but I'm
Yeah.
teaching my youngest, my 5-year-old, how to read. We doing sight words
That's
right
what's
now,
up.
And so
That's what's
I
up.
am repeating those words, but I'm just trying to do better
Mhm.
because she be killing me. Like, man, I know you know this word. What letter is that sound? You just said it. So even in that, bro, even in that, man, I gotta like really check my emotions, man. Cause I'd be like, I know you just said the letter. I don't know what
Yeah.
that. Like, you just said it. Like, what are you talking about? You don't know what it.
Yeah.
So sometimes my wife.
And if you don't know it, just repeat after me.
Right. I just told you what it was. Like, I'm confused. I'm so. Bro. You should have saw
Boy,
me
I'm
earlier
so
today,
excited.
bro. You should have saw me earlier today. I would have called the handles, man. We just learned this word yesterday.
From yesterday to today, just data dump. It's all gone.
Bro, I swear. Like, that's the same letter that was yesterday. What you learned in
That's
school?
what's
What are you
up.
doing today? Like, what are you doing in pre-K? I know you learned this letter.
Right. Y'all went over this letter at least 20 times in school. We went over it 100 times last night. Now you don't know nothing. Okay. Hey, listen, I'm laughing so hard because I know my daughter's only 13 months, but she be giving you this little side eye, or like when she doing something that she know, and I don't know how she knows, but I'll give you an example. Like when I'm downstairs, I'll take my phone and I'll put it under. Oh, that's a picture of her, by the way. Hold on, let me see if it'll pop up. That's her.
Oh,
Check out. Isn't
I
she
love the
cute?
fresh baby. I love the baby, man. I love them.
So I'll put my phone like under one of the pillows on the couch, and I don't know how she knows it's there. Cause like it don't ring, it don't do nothing. She'll like act like she wants to climb on top of me. I'll pick her up, set her down. She'll kind of play for a second, and then she'll go right to it. And she'll like when I'm like, "Hey, what you doing over there?" She'll kind of give me this little mischievous look, like I'm not doing anything. Like I ain't doing nothing. The whole time she covered the phone. Next thing you know, she's chewing on it. You know what I mean? So I can just see you talk about like we just learned this letter yesterday, and she acting like she don't remember, and I can just see my daughter doing something similar, or just like ain't no telling what she gonna do. Like I remember right after the hurricane that destroyed everything up here, these people that I took some supplies to, they rescued this tiny little kitten, like she fit in the palm of my hand, and like I ended up like bringing the cat home. So like my daughter had like a little friend to grow up with or whatever, and they be terrorizing each other, bro. It's like Tom and Jerry downstairs and upstairs. They be everywhere. 1 second, like my daughter will have a toy, whether it's her toy or the cat toy. Here comes the cat trying to take it, or vice versa. Like I remember I was putting my daughter in the car seat one day. I strap her in, and she hates the car seat. She's starting to get better, but
Bro,
she be
they
cool.
hate car seats.
Hate it, bro. Hate it. So the cat heard the baby crying, jumps up on the top and like looks down. I guess she like got a little too far down because Keone, that's my daughter's name, Keone. She grabs the cat by the neck, like pulling it down. And I'm like, whoa! I'm like, stop, stop! You gonna hurt the cat, or the cat gonna scratch you? She's just tugging on the cat, like by the neck, bro. I'm like,
Bruh.
yo,
Them kids don't care nothing about no pets. I swear, they be abusing pets.
They don't care. She loves the cat. I think she loves the cat. She just rough sometimes, man. I'm like, easy. That's not it. That's not it. Like, ease up a little bit. Whoo, don't kill the cat.
That's hilarious.
Oh
Man,
yeah.
I think all kids are rough on pets, man.
Man,
Man,
what?
my daughter's rough on pets, man. Pets be scared of them sometimes. They be running.
Facts. I'm just grateful that so like my homeboy, his daughter's rough on the dog. Like she'll be like grabbing the dog's jaw, the dog just sit there taking it. I'm like, man, I'm so grateful that the cat just takes it and the dog just takes it, because you know them cat claws and them teeth are super sharp. And she's a
Yeah.
kitten, so her teeth are like needles. So
Mm.
and I already like, yeah, I want them to play well and play together, and everybody avoid getting hurt.
I mean,
Because
it's
this
cool the
this
unique
scar
nature
right
of
here
those.
is from a dog. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, really? Oh no. Oh, dang, for real?
Yeah, that's from a dog bite. So every time there's a dog around, I'm like, I'm just watching. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
all right now. So
That's real, man. I was just saying it was just it's unique, the innate nature of animals. Like when they see babies, they act different.
oh
It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, that is cool. It's almost like you said. It's like it's intrinsic. Like they don't have to be taught that's a baby. It needs to be protected or
Mhm.
whatever. Or like, and I never thought that animals. Well, I mean, I know I've heard people say that like your dog misses you or your cat misses you or whatever. I
Mhm.
always just thought like the dog or the cat misses you because you feed them. But like on the nights where my daughter's with her mom, because we have 50-50 custody, the cat will sleep in the crib or in the playpen. It's
I
like,
love
for real. Like, I'll be like, where's the cat? Looking for the cat. Can't find the cat anywhere. She's either in the crib or the pack and play. Guaranteed. Every time. And I can't tell you how many times I woke up in the middle of the night when before Keone started sleeping in her own room in her crib and the pack and play was in my room, where I would get up to check on her in the middle of the night and the cat would be curled up with her. And I'm like, y'all was just trying to kill each other like an hour ago. And now y'all cuddled up. Like, what is going on right now? So you're absolutely right. They have some kind of like, I don't know if it's a maternal nature. I don't know what it is, but they definitely know that babies are babies and let them get away with everything.
Oh yeah, it's God's creation. That's the way God created it.
That's a fact.
To wrap it up, man, you had alluded to looking forward to something. So I guess I really want to know what is right now. What is one of the biggest things you're looking forward to with your daughter or in parenting in general?
Well, with my daughter, the thing I'm looking forward to is I'm really excited about watching her learn to communicate verbally, so then I can kind of get an understanding of her personality. Because right now, like, she does things that I don't know that she's seen anybody do, and nobody's taught her. Like, how do you learn how to hide something that somebody hid specifically from you? So, and just the way that she's always paying attention, and ever since like she was a tiny baby, like she's had really good hand-eye coordination. So like, you put your finger out, she'll grab it, or like if you hand her some food, she doesn't miss it. Like, she'll just go right to it and grab it. And I'm really excited about hearing her start piecing together words so I can try to understand how the little brain works, because like the way she put stuff together, I might have two things completely separated from each other, and somehow like she'll go to one, she'll pick it up, she'll see the other one, she'll go get it, and she'll put them together, or maybe she'll just bang them together. But I'm like, what made you put those two things together? So I really want to I'm really excited about watching her personality develop and come out, and I'm really excited about being able to like hear her little thoughts, or hear about her day, or about her imaginary friend, or whatever story she makes up, because sometimes kids come up with some stuff and you're like, what are you talking about? Like, look,
I had a dream last night. I'm like, no, you did not have that dream. That just so wild. It came up some crazy stuff. There's no way you dreamed that.
There's no way. There's no way. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the journey, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn things about myself that I didn't know I needed to learn until she came into my life and showed me those things. And I want to see how she continues to help me become a better man or a different man, because you said patience early on in the show. The amount of patience that I have for this little tiny human, I've never had that amount of patience for any other human in my life.
That's
because I used to be like, oh, you do something I don't like, all right, I'm either gonna cut you off, I'm gonna check you, or I'm just gonna like, we ain't gotta keep interacting. But with her, it's like, I don't care if she's crying, I don't care if she made a mess over here. She doesn't know any better. So how can I in good spirits and in good conscience and good whatever, like treat her like she did it intentionally to make me angry? That's not her intention at all. She's learning, and she learns by messing with stuff, by picking the plate up, letting all the food drop, and then picking the food up off the ground, trying to eat it, or trying to feed it to me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm really looking forward to just learning from her, teaching her, and just making sure that if she doesn't know anything else, she's gonna know that I love her, and nothing she will ever do will stop me from loving her. Period.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I think you focusing on presence and being there is going to help you do all that. And
Thank you,
I
bro.
know you're going to enjoy the road
Yeah.
of watching her and the words. I had those
Yeah.
same questions, like when they going to start speaking? Because
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, with my oldest, I didn't get to see that part of the growth.
Oh
So
man,
with
I'm
my
sorry.
youngest, I am. So, and that's like, oh, I didn't know they talk like this early. I didn't think 2-year-olds talk, because she never talked when she came, and she wouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like to learn that. So I'm excited for you, man. And just to
Yeah,
always
thank you.
validate, man, you're a good father. Keep doing your thing.
Well,
Keep staying
I
present.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Keep
Oh,
helping the
I'm
community.
gonna be hitting you up. I'm gonna be hitting you
yeah.
up, bro. Help! I don't know what's going on.
Hit me up, bro. I'm always open, man. Hit me up. Hit me up.
And thank you, bro. Thank you. And it's been an honor to be on here, bro. Like I've had a lot of fun, great conversation, great insights. Like I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing, man. Because I don't know of any other podcast or any other space where men can get on here, talk about the really tough situations, talk about our emotions, talk about like our hopes and dreams for our children and the things that we're afraid that might happen or stand in the way. So I just really appreciate like this platform for real, bro.
I appreciate that, man. It's truly a blessing that I feel like God gave me this in 2020, and then he allowed it to continue to flourish. So
Facts.
continue to use this platform to help others, man. Same thing you're doing.
Yeah.
So tell everybody where they can. I know you say you about to start it back up, but tell everybody where they will be able to find your podcast.
Okay, so the Seeds of Greatness podcast is on Apple, Prime, Spotify, and I'm about to put it on YouTube when I relaunch. And it's always on my Instagram, and that's at Iamcastiron.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
I appreciate
it. I definitely have everything in the bio. So, as you've seen, this is my first time sending the contract out, so I was pretty hype about that. Me and my wife put that in there.
Yo, when I seen that contract, I was like, yo, he's legit. That's what's up.
Hey, I'm telling you, I've been working, bro. I've been working. I'm like, yeah. So that was a first timer. So I really just my wife helped me find that. So I'm excited.
That's what's up.
About where this is going and how is it going to grow. So
yeah,
awesome,
it's gonna grow, bro. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, this is episode 107. Hope everybody stay blessed.
You too, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Hey, you awesome. Thanks.
You, man.